sinister mind of Sinestro.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy KLA, Cloud of Wanderer, also known as Ed Sinestro. Yeah, I have a guest with me. His name is Reno GTK, Anibeats Comics. How you been, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Thank you for having me on and everything. I'm doing well, thanks. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm fine, man. I'm fine. Look, I was looking forward for this interview.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Appreciate it, man. It's always nice to receive, opportunities, especially to, both, just talk about comics and my comic, of course, and all of that. I love these opportunities, man,
yeah.
I was fortunate enough, I think, what was it, about maybe a month or so ago? There's a lovely lady on Instagram, and she's got a channel called Room of the Bloods. Not sure if
Okay.
you've heard of her. Yeah, she was really nice enough to have me on her show as well about a month or so ago. So yeah, for me, and it was a really good show and everything. It was my first time, so I was a bit nervous, but it's always really, really nice getting opportunities. So thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I spot talent, so I just kind of reach out to it. So,
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that.
yeah. So, how you got started?
Yeah, so I started roughly around the end of 2020. It started off with just an idea of actually creating, I guess, a character which I suppose is, that symbolizes a lot of what I kind of grew up watching and stuff like that.
Right.
Um, so, for example, right, both in I look at comic and animes the same, like in that sense, really, like they work hand in hand with me, right?
Right.
So, I love like kind of like action cartoons and anime and stuff like that, right? And particularly swords as well. So I've got a few influences from Japanese kind of culture a little bit as well. But in terms of my stories, I've moved quite away from that because I'm trying to create something new and fresh. But anyway, so my inspirations definitely come from that. I love action. I definitely love action, superpowers, that kind of thing. So that kind of led me to want to create a character that kind of symbolizes that for me, which of course is Oze. And Oze, of course, is in Righteous Warriors, as a few people know already now. And he is an ex-military soldier who uses a sword, which is one of the main kind of, I guess you could say, unique qualities of
Is
Oze.
this guy? Is this
Yeah,
him?
that's correct. Yeah. That's the guy. That's the guy. That's him in his military uniform. Because at the moment I'm going through a segment which is called Military Years, and it's basically about his origin story. And
Right.
a lot of his look is basically on like that picture you see there. You'll see him in
Yeah.
either that type of uniform, or you'll see him in his actual military when he's actually, going out on expeditions or war type or going into battles type uniform. It's one of those two type of
Right.
uniforms you'll see him in. So the whole entire segment is all about his origin story. It's about understanding who Oze is, you know.
Right.
So you get to see a lot of like, him in training camps, him going out to battles, finding out, okay, like what happens to him. Of course, no spoilers. But of course, there's a lot of things that happen to him when he's at the military camps and stuff like that. So, there's a lot of character development that happens within the military years. Now, of course, what I'm going to say to all of my audiences is that, after military years, there's going to be a lot of changes, right? And you can potentially start, the story from when the next part comes in. However, I would always recommend you to look at military years, because you're not going to be able to understand who Oze is, without actually reading all of that. So that's how I kind of recommend it. I'll give you the choice, of course, but the origin story really kind of showcases a lot of his character and who he is. you know, and there's some foreshadowing for the future, of course, in there as well. But so yeah, but that's where I'm at currently right now. So I'm about to finish those pages. I'm just doing some filler pages just to kind of add a few more details and stuff like that. But I'm very close to finishing it. And then after that, I will be printing. You know, I'll be printing it all out. You know, it will be over probably 2 issues.
Right.
I've got so far with the military years. I've got more pages with other stuff, but just the military years alone, that's going to be about 2 issues, I would say.
Okay. Now, what inspired you to do the military, like, or do a story about the military? That's different.
Thank you. So what it is that my dad, he basically was a Jamaican soldier, right?
Oh, okay.
And a few of my inspirations come from also his life as well. Not the actual character, but at least how he led his life.
Right.
So Jose starts out in the Jamaican military before he actually goes to the US military, right?
Right.
He did training there, his basic training there, but because he wanted to train with a sword, he had to get a kind of a specialized kind of scholarship to go to the US to receive funding to get like a specialist who knows about swordsmanship over there. So
Right.
that's kind of the idea of why he moved over to the US military in the first place.
Oh, okay. Like, like, what was the reference like? How did you get the reference just specifically from your dad?
Yeah, so it was just within conversations of my dad, really, you know, because I've got a good relationship with him, which I'm very fortunate to have. And yeah, sometimes we'll just be having like general chats, random chats about stuff, and then he'll tell me about his time in the military and things like that. And I just thought it was really cool, you know. I just thought it was a really, really cool thing, you
Right.
know. And one other detail I'll give you actually as well is that originally, all right, now I'm going to get into something I haven't actually said to anybody.
Okay.
So you know, you're the first one to actually hear this. I've not even posted this online yet, right? So before, okay, so I would say this: both Righteous Warriors and Oze have gone through a lot of changes over the last 3 years. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Originally, okay, Oze's character and a bit of his story, I wouldn't say all of it, but a bit of his story was meant to follow the story of Yasuke. I don't know if you've heard about that black samurai Yasuke.
Yeah. I didn't know the name, but I know it's a black samurai that went to Japan, an African samurai that
Yes,
went to Japan, and he was learning the ways of the samurai,
that's
stuff like
right. And
that.
he was
Yeah.
under Nobu. He was like a guard under Nobunaga and that kind of thing. Right
Yeah.
now, I might actually tell this story one day on Instagram because actually kind of a funny one still. So I was gonna have some of my inspirations come from the Yasuke story, right? Because many years ago on Facebook, I saw a post about it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is so cool!" Like a black, you know, what I mean, samurai that existed in like those times, which of
Right.
course is extremely rare. So I thought that would make a fantastic story. However, the lovely man, what's his name? Is it Deshaun? I forgot his name, right? He then about what? So after about like a year, I'm into kind of like writing my story and doing that kind of stuff. He comes out with a whole entire anime series featuring Yasuke, and that's on Netflix right now. You see what I mean?
Right.
So I'm like, damn, someone got to it before me. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, oh man, what am I gonna do? I was like, no, what am I gonna do? Like, oh man,
Actually,
crazy time for me,
I,
huh?
I don't- not to cut you off. Actually, like they I don't know. You ever heard of Afro Samurai? The
Yes, I
yeah,
have.
they got that. That's like an inspiration of that the African samurai he was telling me
Yeah,
about.
yeah, I would imagine it probably is as well, actually. But at least with Afro Samurai,
Right.
they went, of course, along quite a different route, didn't they? So
Okay.
you, unless
Okay.
you know about Yasuke, you wouldn't really think that it's connected to Yasuke, if you know what I mean. Whereas the Netflix series
Right,
that came out
right.
a year ago by Deshaun, I think it's Deshaun Thomas. I thought it was Deshaun something. His one is very much linked to all of what happened in Yasuke's life. You know, him being in Japan,
Oh,
being
okay.
that. So, I couldn't use it. I definitely couldn't use that idea now. So it was very unfortunate, right?
Yeah,
But,
right.
however, after, of course, chopping, changing ideas and things like that, when I then got to, like I said, speaking with my dad and he was telling me about his time in the military, I was like, wouldn't it be cool to have a soldier who has trained, of course, in all types of weaponry and things like that, like rifles and handguns, combat knives, whatever, all that kind of training, hand-to-hand combat, all of that stuff. However, his main choice of weaponry is a katana blade. Because as soon as you get into that, you're going to be sitting there thinking like, but why? You know what I mean? And that's what I want. I want people to be intrigued. You see what I mean? Because it's something new, isn't it? It's not something you'll find normally. You know, when you think of military, you straight think of guns, rifles, all that kind of stuff. So when someone is specifically, you know what I mean? Me as the creator going out their way to have my character use a blade, which actually in a way is a disadvantage on the battlefield. I know all of that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? If I'm trying to use real references here, having a katana blade versus someone with a rifle is an extreme disadvantage. But I love that. I love that because the way how I create Oze is that he almost yours will think he's superhuman in the way how he maneuvers on the battlefield and almost is more like an assassin. You see what I mean? Like, even in his military years, the way how he maneuvers the battlefield and does what he needs to do, how he, let's say kills the commanders and the soldiers or whatever, it's almost like the guy's superhuman, So I love that. I think it's very intriguing. I think that everyone's going to have question marks. And from a viewer's perspective, I can just see them wanting to understand why. Why would he want to use that in battle over a rifle and everyone else? And that is one of the key, I would say, one of the key plot points of the story, which leads to a lot of other things as well. It all stems from this ideology of him being in the military with a Japanese katana and hardly ever wanting to use other weaponry, even though he does have them. And he does kind of use them for distraction, but his main source of how he might, take out enemy soldiers or commanders is the sword. So,
Yeah. I mean, it's different. Like I was saying, because you don't really see like a comic book, like a military comic book. So yeah, what was like the process of it? Like just even the character development and the setting and like even just coming with a story of it.
Yeah, it was a long process,
Yeah,
there was like I said, a lot of chopping and changing at the beginning, especially after like what I said to you about the whole thing of having to change the whole Yasuke idea. So I guess I went firstly, I went back to like what inspires Oze's outfit, right? Because there are other inspirations there. Now, the outfit that you mainly see Oze in, which is the black outfit, when you showed up on the screen a minute ago, that outfit is actually inspired by Blade from Marvel.
Yeah.
Not the military one. If you bring up the other picture with all of the characters, like the promo art.
Oh, okay. All right. Hold on.
That one just for a second. Yeah. I guess I'll wait for you to put that. Yeah, this one. So he's on the right hand side there. Yeah. So that outfit is inspired by Blade. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's inspirations from Blade there. Obviously I know Blade wears like a big long coat and other kind of things, but I want to, of course, make it look different. I'm not going to make it look exactly like Blade, am I? But the inspiration is definitely from Blade. Yeah, so of course, he's got Blade's got the two katanas that he uses as well, of course, to kill vampires and all that kind of stuff. So So it's kind of from that. So when I thought about like, Blade, I thought about, him being like this, strong, what I mean, superhuman kind of like vampire who, kind of hunts down the night kind of thing. So
Right.
I took some ideas from that when I was going through my drafting process. You can take it back off the screen if you want as well.
Yeah.
I took that I took some of those kind of ideas a little bit there. I said to myself, okay, like how am I gonna work this out? What do I want to do with him? So then I started like thinking, and I take the idea of him killing vampires. I said like, he kind of reminds me of a bit of an assassin, Blade. So I kind of took that kind of idea and I said, okay, well, in the military, you've got people who focus on espionage and stealth and, doing like, quick action type kills and that kind of thing. Not someone who's just running across the battlefield, but someone who actually, hides, very carefully in the bushes and goes in for a one-shot kill. Like that's kind of, how Oze maneuvers on the battlefield. It's like a one-shot kill type thing, and then quickly dashes out. So I took those kind of ideas, from Blade, and then of course merged that with, the story of what I mentioned about my dad as well. And I just started slowly kind of putting it all together from there, really. Slowly starting to put it all together. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. Like you also like did like a hip hop story about it. Let me put it there. Hold on.
Prepare for the war. Armstrong ready, kick open the doors when things go left, it will even the score. Man them ready with a gun them drawn. Speak no words, straight down to the floor, no talk for the pressure at the very core. Show no emotion as part of the law. Man praying for his life while down in all fours. General armies, head of all heads. Turn the battlefields from brown to red. Sacrifices must be made so we mix the bloodshed. A few dead bodies in the fear will spread. Not across the land he earned his respect. When you see him, it's a boosting effect. Efficiency, that's what he injects. You don't know, yeah? This is Reno, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to that boy Franco for the trumpet sample, yeah? Big up, yeah? Everything that I'm saying here is from my comic and my anime, yeah? Make sure you check it out, you don't know. William Armstrong feat. Boom!
Betrayal, jealousy, triumph. This is Ose's journey. In the ruthless world of military training, Ose's skills made him a target. Envy turned comrades into enemies. They schemed, they plotted, but Ose stood firm. Every page of Righteous Warrior's military years grips you with his struggle. The sweat, the pain, the crushing weight of betrayal. But also the rise, the triumph. Ose isn't just fighting to be the best soldier, he's battling the darkness within his own ranks. Can he turn envy into respect? Can he transform betrayal into unshakable spirit? Get ready, comic fans. The wait is nearly over. Righteous Warrior's military years is about to drop. Don't miss Ose's epic journey from castaway to champion. Release date, mark your calendars. This is the story of a true righteous warrior.
Appreciate you bringing that up, man. Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, I got another one too, but I'll wait. I'll wait for it.
Yeah, we can do it in the meantime. Because there's a couple things I want to mention actually. So the rap that I did, that was actually from one of my other main characters, William Armstrong.
Okay.
He's basically like the main kind of military leader in a sense, like a veteran, who's obviously served in the military for many, many years and has the respect of all of his soldiers, he's the one, of course, that Oze looks up to, he's when he gets inspirations from him, of course, as well. And, it's William Armstrong that pushes Oze to be, the best soldier, I guess he could be in that sense. So that rap was actually about William Armstrong. Yeah. And like how he is as a person and, and how he kind of, I guess, again, maneuvers in the battlefield, So it was just kind of like a quick little summary about him in a sense, really, and all of that. I'm going to do others as well, of course. I've done one about Oze. I have actually got one about Oze, but I don't know if I've actually got it on online yet. I'm not sure if I have put it online yet. I don't think I have yet. So yeah. We'll have to get back to that one. Yeah, because I've actually got one about Oze as well, but I need to upload it. I don't think I've uploaded that one yet. So,
How you?
yeah.
What about the animation?
Oh yes, yeah. So there's so much to cover, isn't there? Yeah. So that animation that you saw at the bottom, that's actually unreleased animation. So I have told people on my like Instagram, my social medias that it is coming, but it has not been released yet. But I said to myself that where I was doing that little rap about William Armstrong, I thought, why not, man? Pull it on there, you know, because the animation's done, but there are a couple of things like some sound effects, a couple of voiceovers that I need for it. So I'm just taking my time to release that one. But yes, there is going to be a more kind of large scale trailer, which will be releasing once, you know, I get those little small things kind of out of the way with it.
Yeah, let me show some more pictures. Check it out.
Yeah, that's William Armstrong there.
All of
That's actually an artwork I just done recently as well, actually.
right.
Yeah. I wanted to kind of show like his intensity, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? You know, so I kind of wanted to show that by like, the way he's just like flicking on the jacket there, like, right, time to get to business, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
he's one of the kind of dudes, man. Like, you know, if he steps out
What
to the battlefield, nah, man, it's shut down, man. You know what I
what's the
mean?
difference? What's the difference between him and Jose?
William Armstrong is, of course, like I said, like a veteran, you know, of course, like
Right,
Jose's, you know, in a sense, like a baby in the military compared to William Armstrong, you know what I'm saying? You know, he inspires everybody, you know what I mean? That's basically the best way to say William Armstrong. He is an inspiration for everybody. He's a veteran hero in my story. And, you know, all of the soldiers basically look up to him. But he also, of course, makes very important decisions along with a few other people
okay,
who I'll need to speak about as well. You know, but yeah. That's him in a nutshell, really.
yeah, yeah. I noticed that you have a lot of black characters. And you break it down why. You explain why.
Yeah. So with the whole black characters thing, for me, as I was I've always kind of had in mind that I wanted to see like a whole black cast of characters more in like cartoons and animation,
Right,
because it's still a very kind of scarce thing. There's still very limited shows that
right,
have a whole set, you know what I mean, of just black cast characters. You know, the only ones that come to mind, well, when I was younger, I was Static Shock. That was a great show. That was a fantastic show.
yeah.
I
I
loved it.
seen.
Yeah, that was a fantastic show. You know, Boondocks. Yeah, right, cool, Boondocks. But outside of like those, you know what I mean? There hasn't been like many that have like kind of full cast. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you might have little black characters that have cameo appearances and things, but not a full cast, you know. And I want to, I guess in a way, show like a positive kind of image of like, you know what I mean, how like how black people are portrayed in that sense, really. Now, don't get me wrong, I did adore Boondocks, but I personally wouldn't make a show like Boondocks because it it's a reflection, of course, of reality and kind of what we're living in and stuff like that. But if we're trying to change the perception of the youth and how they see how things are going on in reality, the first thing we've got to do is install them with something different, a positive kind of image of, you know, black parenting, you know, you know what I mean, superheroes who might be representing like, you know what I mean, good, you know what I mean, kind of justful, kind of, you know, meaningful things. So I'm quite, what's the word? I'm definitely quite I feel quite strongly about that. And you know, it's also to promote my culture as well, which is something which is going to be quite interesting as we move on from military years and we get into the main arc, which is called the Day of Reckoning. That's basically the main arc of the story, I guess you could say, where there's going to be a host of new characters which are going to come in, and a lot of those characters, or at least a good portion of them, are actually going to be inspired from my culture, which is Caribbean Jamaican culture, and there's going to be a lot of them featured in the new arc, which will come. You know, what I mean, once I finish with military years.
Okay. So you was originally from Jamaica?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, I was born
so
here. But all my family are Jamaican. Sorry, I was born in the UK, there, but all my family are Jamaican.
oh, okay. Okay.
Grew
So
up in a
you lived in so
Jamaican-
mostly you in the UK most of your life.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you ever been to Jamaica or?
Oh yeah. I've been many
Oh,
times when I was younger. You know, I'm due to go back there and see, you know, I mean, granddad and some other family soon as well. Yeah.
oh, okay. Like with the comic book industry, how is it like over there, like with Comic Con and all that stuff?
I haven't really heard much in Jamaica, you know, to be fair.
No,
If it
no,
is,
no. I mean in the UK. I meant. Excuse me.
oh, UK. Yeah. Comic and anime culture. I would say, excuse me, sorry. I would say that people over here are more into anime than comics. But that's
All
just
right.
my personal opinion. Someone else might give you a different opinion. But when I've gone to the cons, definitely I see more fans of animation. You know what I mean? So like, you know, Japanese animes like Dragon Ball, Naruto, Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia, all these kind of shows. I would say that they're more into that. I do see some people with reference to comics, and there are people over there in those shows in those cons, sorry, that definitely sell books and sell comics, but the audience to me from the comic perspective is more limited. I would say definitely.
Okay. All right. Yeah. You know, with the black superhero thing, yeah, I've talked to a lot of people that like creators and writers and stuff like that. Some
Mhm.
are musicians, and then they became like comic book creators, and yeah, to that point, yeah. I mean, it seems like it's like a universal thing with black creators. They want to put more uh how can I say it, like I don't know if diversity is the word, but like more of the black race in comics and stuff.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well because as we know, excuse me, so my throat. As we know, you know, the comic world has been run by like, you know, Marvel and DC for like donkey's years, right? And
Right.
you know, they've, you know, done a few little things here and there with like putting like, you know, little characters here and there into their comics and stuff, but they've never, you know, like posted a whole full on, you know what I mean, black cast, you know what I mean, through their medium. So to me, it's like, well, if they're not going to do it, then someone else has to, you know. And I think universally everyone kind of feels that way. They felt like that, you know, whether they were reading comics when they were younger or watching cartoons and whatever. They just kind of felt like that, you know, diversity wasn't there in terms of for blacks, you know.
Right.
Even other races, like, you know, let's say like I was saying, well, not Japanese and Chinese, but like, you know, Indians or South American, like, you know what I mean, like South American type people. No, even those are hardly in anime as much either still. So, you know, it's obviously been very, very focused on, you know, particular races. And that's also something that I, you know, want to challenge. And I think universally, all the kind of black comic creators all just want the same thing with that. They want to see more, you know, black superheroes, black villains, black cameos, whatever it is. And I guess through that they can showcase their culture, because I know that's what I want to do. So I'm sure that's also what they want to do as well.
Yeah. What did you think about Black Panther?
Oh, Black Panther was amazing. Yeah, so that's what I forgot about. Yeah, fantastic. It certainly shows, like, you know, African culture, what African culture could have possibly been in many, many years ago. you know, like the way how civilization, of course, it's kind of shown in like a very modern type of way. But to me, I think like the way how the civilizations were run, when you look at it from, you know what I mean, Wakanda and that, I think that that's kind of a reflection of how, like, you know, ancient civilizations like ancient Egypt, which we know was originally black people, were run. I think that it kind of shows how those kind of civilizations and cultures were run, definitely, but just in a modern way.
Yeah. I don't know if you ever heard on, but Black Panther was originally created from Stan Lee and I think Jack Kirby, and they weren't black.
Ah, right.
That's the funny.
Yeah. That's certainly interesting. You know,
But the movie what's his name, Ryan Coogler, he directed it. You know, he made, yeah, he put the black cast and stuff. But originally, the comic book character was kind of created from people that wasn't black. And then, you know, I spoken to somebody like months ago, and you know, they're from Africa, and they were saying that it ain't really a great representation of it. I mean, they wouldn't look at it bad, but you know, it wasn't like an accurate, I would say, representation of it. So
no, I don't think so either. I think it's a concept
yeah,
that they kind of played around with. You know, I think as time goes on, because of, you know, there's obviously a lot of black creators like myself out here that are trying to really push this thing. And I think that, you know, as time goes on, there will be more shows that kind of, you know, show Africa correctly. There is a show with a black girl, but I can't remember the name of it. It's come out recently. And it begins with an I. Oh, but I just can't remember the girl's name. But it looked to me, I haven't watched it yet, but it looked to me like it was, you know, a more accurate, like you said, representation of what, you know,
right,
Africa looked like. But I just forgot the name of the show. But I know it's featuring a little black girl, and I think she roams around with like a lion or a tiger or something like that. But I
right,
just can't remember what's called it off the top of my head. But I do know there's, you know, comic book creators like Comic Republic Media,
right,
and I think they, you know, specialize in African stories. When I spoke to them one time about stuff, I know that they've been
right.
doing their thing for a while. So, you know, people like them and of course others, I'm sure they were going to have more stories coming out, because this whole thing of, you know, pushing black characters, it's a big thing now, I would say personally. There's a lot of
Right.
people doing it now.
Yeah, I noticed it like on Instagram. Like I would kind of like reach out to people
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah. Like
Um,
that, like now who was this, like this group, like the Anarchians?
The Anarchians.
Anarchians?
Yeah, so the Anarchians have not been fully introduced into the story just yet, but I don't mind talking
Right.
about them because they're coming up real soon. So the
Okay.
Anarchians are going to be part of the Day of Reckoning arc. So you know what I'm saying about the main arc that I'm going to be doing, and there's going to be a
Right.
lot of things being introduced. That's one of them.
Mm.
The Anarchians run. Oh man, I can't really explain them without saying a bit more of the story, right? Okay, all right. Let me say a little bit more of the story, because I was trying to keep certain things away, but I'm gonna have to explain it now. So, at the end of the military years, yeah, there's basically a group that's going to be formed, yeah, called Babylon. Okay, the
Okay.
word Babylon is basically, of course, dictated from that. I think is it a Greek term? I forgot the name of it right a second, but Babylonia anyway. And the idea is this, right? Is that Jamaican culture, especially Rastafarians in particular, they've always got the saying of that Babylon to them is basically people who are evil, who control the world,
Yeah.
you know, and that kind of thing, right? So again, this is something that I've always grown up hearing. You know, I love my reggae music. I love my you know what I mean, my dance hall, and of course, you know what I mean, I've got, you know what I mean, family in my own blood family that of course are Rastafarians too. And so I've always grown up around that term Babylon and what they say, you know what I mean, Babylon is like the ultimate evil in a way, basically, right? So you know, Babylon is going to be basically the group formed after the military years when Oze goes into the future. And when he goes into the future, he's going to be in what is called a dystopian London. Okay. My choice behind dystopian London again is because there's not really much comics and stuff that like featuring London like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you know, I thought, okay, why not? Like, you know, the setting of the Day of Reckoning was something I was stuck on for such a long time. I was going to pull it in Africa at one stage. I was going to pull it even in bloody Japan at one stage, way back in the day. I was all over the place with it. However, I settled with dystopian London because I wanted to draw it back to my roots again. You know what I mean? Drawing back to me, being in London, being in UK, that kind of thing. There's a lot of course, creators, especially in the US, who feature a lot of their characters in their cities, like, you know, New York City and all these kind of things. Even a lot of like Marvel and DC was based in like, you know, I'm in America and all that. So I said to myself, nah, do you know what? I want to have something in London. It's going to be a bit different, of course, because it's a dystopian London. It's a futuristic London. And I'm going to have aspects of, you know, cyberpunk in there as well, which is what the Anarchians look like. So they're kind of like the more kind of cybernetic cyberpunk kind of outfits. I've always loved that kind of look. And then when I knew that I wanted Oze to basically go into the future, right, I wanted to then bring in some of those kind of more elements of, you know, looking futuristic. And they're definitely an example of what, you know, characters are going to look like from a futuristic sense. Yeah, because they're all kind of cybernetic. But I'm not going to say too much more about them. So, you know, the people can read it and understand more about them in the past. But anyway, but yeah, so the Anarchians, their basically function is that they work under Babylon. Yeah, Babylon is like the ultimate evil of the world. They're the ones who are controlling all of the resources. They're the ones who are controlling the money. They're the ones who start wars. They're the ones who go into fix wars after wars are started. Because, you know, again, I'm going a little bit into conspiracy theories here, but, you know, the idea of like, you know, if you're a person who, you know, doesn't always believe everything that is on the news and how the news portrays things, you know, you end up sometimes coming up with an answer of, you know, well, maybe these people go over to countries to start wars and then they bring in people to fix the problem afterwards. I'm an avid believer of that. If people want to call me a conspiracy theorist, go right ahead. I don't give a shit. Excuse my language. I don't care. That's me, innit? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I am an avid believer of like, you know, a lot of wars that start is to go over there and get resources, you know, and then they use media and propaganda to make it all confusing for people. But you want to call me conspiracy theorist? Cool. I don't care. Anyway, so sorry, where was I going with that now? So going back to to the Anarchians, they work under Babylon. Yeah, so they work under Babylon. Babylon's the ultimate evil of the world in a sense. And yeah, so they control a lot of what's going on. They're the reason why that everyone's in struggle in the dystopian London. This will make a little bit more sense when I release my trailer fully, because I've got scenes of, you know, what London's going to look like and how people are struggling and, you know, living in literally something that looks like huts, like you're in a third world country almost, even though it's meant to be London, of course, which is obviously first world. But because of all of the war and the stress and, you know what I mean, everything going on there, that's the result of what happens there. And Babylon are the people who, of course, have done that. So the Anarchians work directly under them, and they're the ones who, in a sense, are the faces of that evil, because, you know, some people in that world believe that Babylon are for them. They believe that, you know, that, oh yeah, like, you know, they tell us this and they're there to help us. But, you know, what they do is that they, in a way, use the Anarchians as, you know, these kind of Oh gosh, I was about to reveal something there. Sorry, no, I'm not going to say that. Sorry,
Just do as much as you can. That's all.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I have to structure myself here with this whole thing. Anyway,
Right.
so so with, like I said, the Anarchians, they work directly under the Babylon. Yeah, and they're the ones who are causing they're the ones who cause a lot of the problems that happen both in London and other parts of the world as well. Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever thought about doing like superheroes or anything like that?
The thing is that with superheroes, yeah, again, there's so many superheroes, man.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
Like capes-wise, isn't it? Like capes and all that kind of stuff. There's so many of them, man. You know, I would like to call Oze as someone who goes through a redemption, you know, as he kind of progresses in his story. And I'd like to think that he'll end up being a superhero. But not all superheroes wear capes. I don't know if you heard of that quote.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's
you
true.
know, it's the whole cape thing, that's been something that's been pushed by, like, you know, Marvel and DC for decades. So we associate a superhero with a cape, and it's not that, man. No, like, it's a superhero is what is inside that person. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the deeds that they do, are they justifiable? Like these types of things, you know, are they morally correct? Like these are things that justify what superhero traits are, you know what I mean? And it's the person that makes a superhero, not the outfit, you know, is what I always say. And a great example of that was there was a Will Smith movie called Hancock.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I loved Hancock. I actually, Oze, in a way, when you look at Oze's personality, he's definitely inspired from Hancock as well, without a doubt.
Okay.
Oze's a bit like an anti-hero. Yeah, he's a bit like an anti-hero, right? And I loved the idea of Hancock because he was this superhero that, to me, was much more closely resembled to what we think of human beings in general, right? Someone who can sometimes be a bit lazy. Sometimes we might look at someone and be like, oh, God, do I have to save this person today? But he ends up doing it anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I love that. I absolutely adore that type of character because he's been made out to be a superhero, but he's more closely related to what human beings are. Because even though we want to do good deeds and all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah, we have moments where we're just like, oh man, bloody, I have to do this again today. But you don't see those parts. You don't see those things like in the actual, you know, in a typical kind of superhero story. It's always like someone who is always there ready, always ready to, you know what I mean, save the day and save the people and this and that. Like, nah, man, I don't want to go down that route, man. That's been overused like so many times, man. I'm trying to, you know, I want to create something new and fresh and something different that will intrigue people, you know, and get people really interested and engrossed into my story more, you know. I want to try. I'm a bit of a trailblazer like that. I'm trying to, you know, push the boundaries.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Like I mean, I can relate what you're saying. Yeah, you know, I also see Hancock, and I can relate to that because sometimes, you know, it's good to show like a character that feels reluctant to always want to save everybody, and the reality is everybody. I mean, we all look up to a hero, but sometimes there's moments where I don't always feel like a hero. Like I want to save. If we can't really save everybody, you know. Some people it's meant to see their fate, you know. So I could get exactly, you know, what you're talking about.
For real, man. Yeah, you know, and like just that reality of, like you said, you can't save everyone, you know, and fully with you with that. I think that's what I really want to portray. In a way, I want Oze to be as human as possible. That's another thing I always say to myself. I want him to literally be as human as possible, even though he moves like super fast, and the way how you might see him in the comic, he might like look like he's got super strength and speed and whatever. But I want his character, his personality to be as human as possible. And to me, Hancock is a good example of what a human would look like being a superhero in real life at times. You know what I mean?
Right.
Seeing the fact that, sometimes you got to wake up every day. You know what I mean? Like, as humans, like, if we had to be superheroes, there's no way we're going to wake up every day literally with the same mindset thinking, right, okay, I'm going to save everyone I can today. There's going to be a moment where you're just going to be like, oh man, I'm tired today, or I'm this or I'm that. Not saying that your mindset's changed, so you always want to help people. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there's going to be obviously times where you're going to be like, oh damn man, I am so tired today. I don't know if I can do this today. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just normal human behavior, isn't it? You know what I mean? We do that every time we wake up in the morning, like, oh gosh, I got to go work today. You know what I mean? Even I don't want to, you know what I mean? And some people are like, oh man, they'll call up and be like, oh man, I'm sick today, even though they're just lying and they just don't go what. So that's what I'm saying. Like, those are very human things. Those are very human traits. And I want to reflect Oze in that type of way, man, without doubt.
So how do you came up with Anibeats Comics?
Yes, Anibeats Comics. So Anibeats is a combination of two things. So my love for, of course, anime and my love for music. So it's that Anibeats in a way. It's kind of like that. Because prior to doing comics, I was an active rapper. I've got like literally a studio in my house and everything. I've made a couple of albums, you know what I mean, back in the days and stuff, and things like that as well. So I've always been very proactive with music, and I still love it to this day. But I more love it for, how would you say? It's more of a hobby now. Yeah, that's the best word. It's more of a hobby now. Whereas a few years ago, I was trying to become an active rapper, but I kind of gave up on the idea. I realized that internally it just wasn't for me. I didn't want to be a part of the industry like that, even though I had some chances, but I didn't want to get into that. So when I got the comic idea, I thought, right, okay, well, the comic in a way is a way for me to kind of put all of, I guess, everything I've always loved together, because I've always loved cartoons, and I've obviously always loved music. I love video games, you know what I mean? And video games and anime and comics, you know what I mean? They've got similarities. So it's like I put all of that together, and then the name is a representation of that. So Annie as in anime, and then beats as in music.
So you drew all your life, like with like just drawing.
One thing that I always say to people, that unfortunately I do not draw my own characters. I don't. Unfortunately, I've never been a great drawer. I can make a good beat and write, but drawing unfortunately is not something I am good at. Sometimes in my little spare time, I'll have a little doodle, you know what I mean? A little doodle on that. But no. I actually get people to draw the characters for me. But I'm behind all of like how the characters are made, though. You know what I mean? So it's not like I'm not part of the process, if you know what I mean.
So let me show some pictures. Shauna, can you tell me about her, Shauna?
Yeah. There's still a lot of characters who I haven't, like I said, released into the story yet. Shanna is actually inspired by a girl who is a martial artist who's active on social media. Oh my gosh, I've forgotten her name at the moment. Her real name is Shanna, and that's kind of why I basically put that on there. But what's her name? Oh my gosh, she's so popular as well. She basically trains with like Japanese katanas and other weapons and stuff like that.
Katana? Or I don't know. I was thinking about Mortal Kombat.
She trains with katanas and bows. I've seen her with bow staffs and that kind of stuff, like on her videos. but I just can't remember what her Instagram name is right this second.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I know. I don't know her name, but I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
So I
yeah, I
just
know
can't
who you're talking.
remember her name.
I
But
got
her
you.
real name is Shanna. Like, you know what I mean? That's her
Yeah,
actual name. So that's why I called it that. So I don't know. I think at the time when I sometimes like when I'm just going through like, you know what I mean, ideas and stuff, sometimes like if I see someone really cool like her who's doing things on social media, who's a martial artist, because I love martial artists. Yeah, you know, I'll just make a little character out of them, you know what I mean? And then I'll figure it out in the long run where I'm going to put them. But I haven't exactly decided where I'm going to put Shanna yet in the story.
right.
She'll feature somewhere in the Day of Reckoning, but it'll just be cameo appearances, though. She's not going to be one of like the main characters that you'll see, basically. Yeah, it'll just be a small, short cameo appearance.
So how did you get started? Like, when you wrote the story, like, how did you like find artists, like online or?
Yeah, there's a few sites I use. I use Fiverr. Fiverr's one of my main ones. Fiverr's got a lot of kind of like artists on there. You know, Upwork is another good one as well. I find a few artists on Upwork. People per hour sometimes as well. I might use that, but I mainly use Fiverr. Fiverr's really good for those kind of artists.
Okay, like
And sometimes on Instagram, sometimes I'll get someone who will message me directly and say, "Oh, I'm an artist. Like, you know, do you know what I mean? Do you want to make a deal and how get a commission so I can get a commission and whatever?" And sometimes I'll dabble with those kind of people, but I'm a little bit careful, you know, because there's a lot of scam artists as well when
right,
they that stuff. So I'm a bit
right.
careful with people off Instagram, but I have done it sometimes as well.
Is there somebody you specifically use, like consistently use?
I've got definitely a team. Yeah. I've got a team of people. I've got one guy who mainly draws my artwork at the moment. So military years is all drawn by one person. All the
Okay, that's
pages,
cool.
yeah, it's all one person. The artwork, funny enough, he started off as drawing characters for me, and then but then because he was so good at it, and like for me anyway, I loved what he did. Then I moved him on to doing comic pages. But I've got a couple of other guys now who do more my, I guess, just promo art,
Right.
like just images wise. Yeah, I've got another person who I use now, who I found on Fiverr again. And yeah, you know, I've got a very particular way of how I want my art drawn, I should say as well. So it's got to kind of match what I know already, if
Right.
you know what I mean, because there's a lot of ways to draw art in it. And you know, I mean, I've seen some really bad ones, for example. So like, you know, I've gone through, you know, spent a little bit of money on people, and then I said, okay, no, I don't like that, I don't like that. And then I've decided on now how I like my kind of art style. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Drawing is not very easy, so I get what you're saying. Did you ever try to attempt to draw or?
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I try to like trace sometimes when I've got time and stuff like that, but nah, I've because there's so much going on.
Oh,
You know, being like, you know, the CEO of my company, and
okay.
you know, trying to get all the logistics together, the story, the business, you know what I mean? Because of course, like, you know, having the story is great, but it's like, how do you promote it? How do you market it? How are you going to make money from it? There's
Right.
so many aspects, you know what I mean? So yeah, having the putting the time to draw as well. Yeah, I just wouldn't have time for it.
Understandable. It's understandable. I mean, because there's some people that have done it, what you've done. Like I was talking to one lady, and she lives in the States, and she was like an editor, and you know she was kind of like she started doing comics like through inspiration of the Wonder Woman movie. So
Nice.
so she wrote like a story of black people in space and stuff like that, and she hired like a artist in Africa, and they illustrated for her and stuff.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's always good, man. Yeah. Definitely.
yeah.
That's all good to do.
I played this one clip of
Alright, cool. What's happening, people? Reno here again, as always. So listen up, yeah? Let me not tell you about the freedom fighters, alright? The freedom fighters are one of the beautiful gems which ties back to my culture, which of course is Caribbean culture. The freedom fighters are inspired by the soldiers which were under Sister Nanny, the Maroon soldiers. If you don't know the history of the Maroons and Sister Nanny and what they did basically for Jamaica and for the people there, you got to do your research on it. Maybe one day I'll do a video, but anyway, that's where they're inspired from. The freedom fighters, absolutely amazing group. They're going to be basically working like a bit in the shadows because they're kind of like a neutral party within the conflict between, you know, the believers and the non-believers. But secretly, you know what I'm saying, they're working with one of them. But I don't want to reveal too much, but that's basically the basis of them. You see what I'm saying? You know, they're trainers. They're basically they're basically militia, military soldiers. You know what I'm saying? And they help to train people as well. You dig what I'm saying? But that's all I'm going to reveal so far with them. Please, you know what I mean? So you know what's going on. Make sure you follow all of the story, everything I'm doing. Check all my previous posts as well. It's not about waiting for me to pop up on.
yeah. So you ever thought about like I think besides like with the samurai that you told me about, the African samurai you told me about, did you ever thought about like making like uh what's the word, biography comic?
A biography comic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Elaborate on that a little bit more for me. What do you mean a
Like
biography?
like here in the States, right? There's like people that I usually see it in a library. Like they'll like create a comic about like a non-fictional person that existed, and they go through their life or certain events that happen, and it's in like in a graphic novel.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I remember I seen like the last one I seen was of something that happened in China, and like the Muslims there, they got persecuted, and somebody kind of created like a graphic novel about that.
Right, I see what you mean now. Yeah. So about like, you know, using real life kind of, you know what I mean, elements or history
Yeah,
of, I mean, someone who existed and then portraying it in the exact same way. Right, okay, I'm
yeah,
with you now.
yeah,
Possibly in the future, you
yeah,
know. I do have some ideas. And there's some cultures in Africa, yeah, which I'm really interested in. I'm not going to reveal what they are because these are part of my ideas right now. So I'm not going to reveal who
right,
they are, but they are, yeah, there's definitely some cultures out there that I'm personally quite interested in. And I
right,
would love to pictate, you know what I mean, the story of them and how their history has been. Yeah. Definitely like a comic and an anime in the future. Yeah.
right, right. So we're gonna real quick look at your Instagram.
Tired of seeing. No black people.
I understand what you're saying. However, it is not the Japanese's responsibility to fix racial diversity in anime.
What is an anime trope that you're tired of seeing?
There's
No
actually a
black
longer version of that as well. But I
Yeah,
don't mind
Understand what you're
explaining
saying.
it anyway.
What is
So
an anime trope that you're tired of seeing?
you can take that off just for a second.
no doubt, no doubt. I got you. I'll come in
Unless you want
back.
to play more videos. I don't mind either way anyway, to be honest. But yeah. I'm gonna
Okay.
explain. There's actually a longer version of that video though, because I made like an Instagram kind of short one. You know, like because obviously everyone loves like short
Well,
quick
let me
videos.
see. I think this
Anime
is the
trope
one.
that you're tired of seeing.
This
No
is a
black
longer
people.
one now.
I understand what you're saying. However, it is not the Japanese's responsibility to fix racial diversity in anime. You want black anime? There you go. My name's Reno, and the name of my brand is Anibeats Comics. And I have a brand that I'm pushing called Righteous Warriors, which is a black-led anime story and comic story, with my main characters, Oze and Makanda, along with others who are either from the Caribbean, African, and some other small parts as well. But my main thing, my main purpose as being a creator is to push black characters as lead roles in stories. That's my goal, without a doubt. As you can see here from my brand, here are all of my characters which are represented as Righteous Warriors. Oze, Makanda, Makeda, Amina, Kave, T, and a few others there. So, what you guys need to do, including him as well, is your responsibility to seek out people who are pushing the type of content like myself. That is your guys' responsibility to do. Because we as creators can't get any more larger or bigger or get more recognition until you guys are on board with us. And that's not just liking our videos, that's supporting us properly, that's supporting us financially, that's coming to, you know, our live streams, that's always checking out on our content, buying our stuff. That's the only way we as black creators are going to become a threat, or not even a threat, no, wrong word, not a threat, but a competition for the Japanese anime community, yeah, in terms of, you know, leading in that space as well, is what I'm trying to say. So let me take that one since I about the throwing things off. But we need to be competitors in that space. But the only way we are going to do that is by you guys supporting us, you know, in all different types of ways. Supporting us financially, so buying the comics, right? Buying the comics, subscribing, you know what I mean, to like Patreons and Kickstarters and all that kind of stuff. We need you guys to be active in this space with finding black creators like myself and also supporting them 1,000%. Not no little 20, 30, 40%, no, 1,000%. You need to be dead serious about this, and the only way you're going to do that is by supporting us in every aspect possible. Yeah, supporting us on all forms of social media, all platforms, and supporting financially, especially as well, because a lot of us have to pull a lot of this kind of content and stuff out of our own pockets, and it gets increasingly hard, especially when everyone's got families and, you know what I'm saying, their personal lives, right? So it's down to you guys to do your part in supporting both financially and actively on social media.
What is an anime trope that you're tired of seeing? No black people.
So this is mostly your livelihood?
Yeah, definitely, man. You know, it's certainly, you know, done a lot through my own pocket still, you know. But that's also because I haven't been as proactive in the con space yet, mainly because I haven't completed the story fully.
Right.
So I've got a bunch of merchandise already. I've got t-shirts, hoodies, my hat, for example. You know, I got all of that kind of merchandise stuff. But
right.
I don't want to make a stall on a COD until I've got the books ready. You know what I mean? You know, because the book is the main selling point. The merchandise is a fan who loves my work, who then wants to support by getting one at like a hat or something like that. Do you know what I'm saying? So, so that's also why as well. So I have been, you know, kind of doing this a bit more part-time. Of course, I've got my own life. I've got to work, you know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. So, yeah.
Okay. Do you have family, or you just it's just you by yourself?
No, oh no, I don't have children if that's what you mean. No, so I am a single man. But
Okay.
you know, it's just hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like life at the moment is probably the most difficult to do a hobby like this. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, of
Uh,
course.
you know, because like as we know, you know, I'm sure America's quite similar with inflation, taxes, and everything's just going up. You know what I mean? So it makes it quite difficult to maintain a lifestyle like this, where you know you could be constantly, you know what I mean, you know, paying people to create your characters or create anime and other kind of stuff. You know, it all costs quite a lot of money behind the
Right,
scenes.
right. Right. So what do you like? What can we expect from Anibeats Comics? Like maybe a year or so.
You will definitely expect completed issues. So once I finish military years, yeah, and
Right.
I just need to get some I just need to get like the covers of the books done. Once all of that's done, you can expect 4 issues.
All right.
4 issues. 2 are going to be the military years, which I mentioned at the beginning of the show. The other 2 currently is called Awakened Power. Okay. Now, Awakened
Gotcha.
Power, right? You brought up a page a little while ago of Makanda when he was in the village and stuff like that. That is part of Awakened Power. Yeah, that picture there. So that's the intro image of when Makanda is in the village. All right. Now, I haven't talked
Right.
much about Makanda. He is of African origin. He's from a region of Africa. I always get the pronunciation wrong of this. So if there's any Africans who watch this, please apologize if I say this wrong. But he's from the Xhosa. So you have to put your little tongue on it. Xhosa. I
Okay.
used to say Shosa before because that's how I pronounced it. But someone told me it's actually Xhosa, like Xhosa, like that, something like that, right? So I wanted a character from Africa, yeah. I wanted someone who uses weaponry, and I wanted, of course, different from, of course, like a sword. And the Sa clan, they basically, from what I've read of the history, they have a historic history of people who are spear users, yeah. They've got like a lot of legendary people in their kind of clans and stuff and their kind of tribes who are like spear users. And I wanted a spear user, and I wanted it to kind of, you know, represent someone from Africa. Because, like I said, I was trying to when I'm making characters, like I'm trying to touch different parts, you know what I mean, of the world. I didn't want it just exclusively, let's say, Jamaican, for example, or Caribbean. I wanted to touch the different parts of the world with it.
Right.
Because the righteous warriors are people who are gathering from all over the world. That's the concept. The righteous warriors are people who are gathering from all over the world. So Makanda is definitely one of them. Now, the idea behind Makanda is that image that you see was before he got taken into a portal similar to Oze and thrown into the future,
Okay.
right? So he is when I released the trailer and you see Oze go into the dystopian London, right? Everyone kind of gets thrown, I guess you could say, into the region of like UK or Europe, and they're all kind of slowly gathering into one place. That, of course, I won't reveal why, but that's the idea. And Makanda is part of the Righteous Warriors, so it's like a, you know, like that. They're the whole big thing, aren't they? Like, you know, the Righteous Warriors, they're the main characters, and Oze, Makanda, and a few others are going to be all part of that, and they're all gathering into one place for obviously the Day of Reckoning, which is going to be the big thing. So yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm looking forward to checking the comic out when you get it out, man.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah. But thank you for giving me your time, man. I really appreciate that also.
No, you're welcome, and no, thank you for having me. You know,
No
it's
doubt.
always really good. I really appreciate the questions as well. Like, you know, you asked me a lot of questions, and you know, it's always nice to kind of, I guess, in a way, kind of, you know, get out a lot of the concepts and ideas. You know what I mean, without revealing too much, of course. But it's nice to kind of talk about, you know what I mean, where I get my inspirations from, all of that. So I think you've been really good with asking me these questions. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Because you know, I wanna know, you know, because you know, you see these people with these creativities, and it's not everybody everybody can't do it. What you was doing, you know, just writing a story, and just even trying to find talent, also. So, yeah,
Yeah, not easy, definitely not. Yeah, man. Finding talent's a tricky one, you know, because even though I don't draw, like I said, I
right,
know what I'm after. I know what I want my characters to look like. I know what style I like them to look in as well. But that was all part of a process. You see what I
right.
mean? So, you know, there's a lot of trials and tribulations, definitely, with all of that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. Yeah. But thank you anyway, man.
No worries, man. You're welcome. No, I appreciate it for having me, man. No, definitely. Nice one.
No doubt. So, folks, thank you for tuning in. Please share, like, you know, comment, and yeah, holla at your boy Reno GTK, Anibeats Comics on Instagram. Yeah, peace out.
Oh yeah, before you go, actually, I might as well just do a couple of quick social media plugs actually before I head out.
Okay,
So you've got Instagram, which I'm on. I'm on YouTube as well.
okay.
Everything is under Anibeats Comics.
I
So if you
got you.
search Anibeats Comics, you'll find me on all social media.
Got
I'm
you.
on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube, Instagram. Oh, and TikTok. Oh yeah, TikTok. Yeah, I'm very active on TikTok as well.
Got you.
So you know, and I've got my website. That's another one to mention. I'm just finishing it. So that'll be active soon, and it's called www.anibeatscomics.com. Nice and simple. Just anibeatscomics.com. So when you go on there, you'll be able to, of course, see you know what I mean, all my updates and everything I'm doing, because there's a lot of stuff I haven't actually mentioned on here, because obviously it's only an hour, you know what I mean? So
Right.
there's still a lot I'm doing behind the scenes. But
No
you know,
doubt.
what I would ask the audiences is just please, you know what I mean, keep up to date with me, keep checking my channel out, because I'm very active. I'm trying to post content every day now, where I was sometimes a little bit slow before, but yeah, I'm fully on it now with it. So that's what I'd ask the audience to do, and to support financially in the future as well, because that's what we really need, man, you know. So that's what I'd ask for, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's one, man. Then you take care, man. Peace out. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Appreciate it.
No doubt.